What's up, guys? Kyle here again, and today we're going on another gear trip. Let's do it. All right, hope you guys are doing great out there today. I apologize if the camera's a little bit shaky. We're taking my old Gear Getter 5000, which is my older car that I have done tons of these trips in, but there's not very many good places to put the camera. So anyways, we are heading down to Pittsburgh, PA, which is about a 2-hour drive. We're gonna do a couple different deals. I'm actually gonna meet up with one of my Patreon guys, Mike, and I am going to meet with another guy who watches the channel, Jim, and we're gonna do a little gear swapping. Mike and I are trading off cabs. I'm getting an old Avatar 2x12 in digital camo back from him for a 112V30 loaded cab, and he's also picking up my EVH LBX Stealth off of me. Then on top of that, Jim has a very good condition PV5150 slant cab, which will complete my second full stack of those cabinets, and he is picking up my Ampeg SVT2 Pro bass amp. So I'm a little sad to see that bass amp going, but at the same time, probably not going to need it anytime soon, and I'll just land another one in the future. It's an incredible bass amp. But while we're down there, I'm going to try to see if I can find anything else, because honestly, I found a few pieces of gear that I would like to grab, but the guys aren't available in the time that I'll be down there, and I can't hang around all day. So we're just going to kind of keep browsing once we get down in the Pittsburgh area and see if there isn't anything that we can find that's worth our time. Once we get back home, we'll get some sound samples of whatever we pick up. I'll give you guys my impressions. Okay guys, so since this is more of like a vlog type deal, I asked you guys for anything that I could add to these episodes to make them a little bit more entertaining for you. Somebody suggested that I should let you guys in on whatever I'm listening to on the trip, just to kind of like show you guys where I'm at. So for the past year, I have actually kind of been on like a health and wellness and longevity kick. I've always kind of been concerned with that stuff, but the last like year and a half, I've really started to take it seriously. At the beginning of 2020, I was actually 210 pounds. Right now, I'm floating around 165 pounds. So I've lost a lot of weight. I've done that a few times in my life before, actually, where, you know, all the way up until I was 19 years old, I was actually overweight. I was a big kid in high school. My first year, well, my only year of college before I dropped out, I weighed in at 248 pounds. So I finally decided to get my butt in gear because I was tired of feeling crappy and feeling bad about myself and not being satisfied with how I looked. So I ended up getting really into weightlifting and exercising and dropped a whole bunch of weight. I got down to 163 pounds. And then from there, I kind of bulked up. I was really into bodybuilding for a minute. But then when my band went on tour in 2009 in Europe, we were there for 2 months. And in Europe, all they serve you is bread and Nutella. So I am pretty carb sensitive, I've found, especially over the last like year and a half. I've really come to notice how easy it is for me to pack weight back on when I eat carbs in any sort of quantity. So for a while, I was kind of focusing on a low carb diet and intermittent fasting. I wasn't doing keto. I've never technically done keto the proper way. My girlfriend is really big on keto. She's been doing that for about the last year. But I noticed with the intermittent fasting and with the lower carbs, I was dropping weight without even working out. I actually lost like 25 pounds without even really realizing it, without trying, just by cutting a lot of processed carbs out of my diet. Once I realized the success I was having, I started to focus on it a little bit more and try to fine tune things. And I came across the carnivore diet about a year ago, and I thought it was really interesting, especially because me personally, I am a meat eater. That's what I like to eat generally. Most of my meals are pretty meat focused, so I ended up deciding to try the carnivore diet, and really I have kind of been on a modified version of the carnivore diet ever since. I did the first month of it super strict, and I leaned out like crazy. I didn't lose any muscle mass. I really enjoyed it overall because I like eating meat. I like eating steaks. I like eating grass-fed beef burgers. So I stayed really strict with it, cut out pop, cut out nuts and cheese, which is what I generally like to try to snack on when I'm not eating meat. And really just noticed a massive difference. So I've kind of stuck to that, but a modified version. I like nuts a lot. So I usually typically have like almonds or cashews in the house. I try to keep the cashews to a minimum because they are a little higher in carb content. But that's what I like to snack on. And then I also snack on, I will just take big blocks of cheese, of processed cheese, unfortunately. Like New York sharp cheddar is my favorite. I also love pepper jack, and I'll literally just eat it right off the block and snack on some nuts and some turkey sticks and stuff like that. But generally, I just eat red meat, steak, grass-fed beef, and I feel amazing. I generally will only eat one meal a day, or sometimes I'll eat a small snack around 3 p.m. and then I'll eat dinner around 5 or 6, and that'll be it for me. So I have a very small feeding window, and that's just kind of how I like it. It keeps me sharp. Whenever I eat it, it slows me down, especially if I have carbs. I'm not saying that I don't, because I definitely do cheat more often than I should. But I just generally love food, so it's hard. But anyways, I always feel a lot better when I only eat one meal a day, and you really start to get hungry around 3 or 4 o'clock. Some days it's easier than others, but I just notice I'm mentally sharper. Believe it or not, it makes it easier to play guitar, because when I eat carbs, it gives me a lot of inflammation, especially in my wrists and stuff. So if I were to like eat pizza and then try to go play guitar like an hour and a half later, it's really hard for me to warm up because my joints are all inflamed and everything. So sticking to the carnivore diet really makes just my life easier overall, and I get to eat foods that I want to eat and be in great shape and good health and blah, blah, blah. The science around it is still developing, but overall, I think it's a good diet for myself. It works well for me. So anyways, that was a really long-winded way to say I'm going to listen to a couple podcast episodes from Paul Saladino. He is a doctor who is a big advocate of the carnivore diet, and he's got a lot of information out there. So if you guys are curious about that at all, check out Paul Saladino. But that's what we're going to listen to. So I'll update you guys when we get to the first stop and get the first piece of gear in hand and see if I can find anything else along the way. We'll see ya. All right, guys, so the first piece is secured. Just handed off the Stealth and the PV112 cab to my homie Mike. He's one of my Patreon members, as I mentioned. He's a great dude. Been a follower of the channel since the beginning. Got my old Avatar cab back that I sold to him. I sold it to him and kind of missed it after I sold it. And he always said if I ever wanted it back, I could get it. So we worked out a deal. It's got 2 Eminence Governors in there, so a couple different speakers than I would normally have. So yeah, kind of looking forward to revisiting that cab. We'll check it out when we get home, but we are now on our way to the next piece. I'm about to get off the wrong exit, so I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing. We'll talk to you guys soon. All right, guys, so just met Jim. 5150 cab secured. SVT2 Pro has been handed off. I couldn't find any other gear in Pittsburgh that was worth picking up there where somebody was actually available. Everybody couldn't meet until after 5 o'clock. So kind of coming up empty-handed in that regard. So I just came out of the store. Not really much there worth grabbing, at least nothing, no great deals. They had a couple things that were priced at about market, so that's fair, but nothing that really caught my eye. So I guess we're going home empty-handed, other than the other stuff that we already came down here for. So I'm going to take one last look at Facebook Marketplace, see if we can swipe something, and if not, we're headed home. Okay guys, so I'm back home. I got everything kind of cleaned up a little bit. I wiped everything down. I didn't have a chance to actually check this stuff out yesterday because by the time I got home, the girlfriend was home. So we got the PV cab over here. It's got little nicks here, little Tolex pieces, torn or missing, but all in all, it's really clean. It's tough to find these things this clean, so I'm psyched. This one completes my second 5150 full stack, as I said, so I'm super pumped. These cabs were built to Eddie's his old Marshall slant cab specs, so they're all birch plywood. Even the screws, down to the screws, they're in the same places. It's got the MDF back like a Marshall would. It's got the MDF back plate like Eddie's Marshall did and most Marshall cabs do have. So very well built cab. I don't know if I'm going to keep the 5150 speakers in all of these cabs. I've already replaced one set of speakers with the UK V30s in one of my straight cabs. So we're just going to mic this up and hear how my block letter 5150 FJA modded 5150, I don't know how to talk, sounds through both of these cabs. Again, this is the Avatar. This is the contemporary cab. This one is in decent condition as well. Super pumped to have this back. This is an interesting cab. I'm going to play with speakers in this one a little bit, but the Eminence Governors, they paired really well with certain amps, and then certain amps I didn't really care for them with. So I'm going to try to get something in there that is a little bit more to my liking, maybe K100s or something, and then we will try to mix these Governors eventually down the line with maybe a Celestion offering and see what pairs well with them. So let's take a little rip. me today. Thanks for tuning into this episode. Final thoughts on what I picked up here. The PV cab, I haven't played through one with the Sheffield 1200s in it in a while, and I am instantly reminded why I don't really care for those speakers. On their own anyways, they're just really fizzy, kind of scooped out, this bright weird top end. You literally can't get rid of the fizz, which my FJA modded 5150 has already kind of been defizzed. Excuse me. It's actually a lot less fizzy than a standard 5150 would be. So if that tells you anything, I'm kind of curious to hear how that cab's going to sound on playback, because in the room it was fizzy. I was having a hard time getting the tone I liked out of it, unfortunately. So may have to swap some speakers around in these 5150 cabs to get them where I like them. But overall, the cab is well built, and I now have 2 full stacks, so cab collection is getting more complete. The Avatar, when I'm standing in front of it, I don't really like the Eminence Governors too much, but when I'm sitting beside it, they sound really good. So I'm also really curious to see how these speakers mic up and how they sound, because I traditionally was not a fan of these in this cab when I had it. Now, I have a lot more amps this time around than I had previously, so I'll have to try some stuff out with these speakers as well. But again, they're not going to be my first choice. I'm going to probably mess with some different speaker combinations in here. But yeah, as I was sitting beside the cab, I actually thought it sounded really good. So I'm curious to see what you guys think down in the comments. Which cab would you prefer? It's a pretty obvious answer for me. I actually even moved the SM57 further away from the dust cap on the Sheffield speakers to try and reduce the fizz in the playback. So we'll see how that comes out. But yeah, this has been another episode of Gear Trips. Hope you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed. Please hit that like, subscribe button on your way out if you like this video, because I'll be putting up probably one of these episodes every week from here on out. Your feedback is always appreciated. Check down in the links for all of my support stuff regarding the channel, including my Sweetwater affiliate link, my Patreon, Facebook group, and Discord server. Would love to have you guys around more often. Thanks again for stopping by. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.